Is this your year to consider making a downsizing move? Does the whole thought of downsizing just kind of suck? Do you know your life might be a little bit better if we had a lot less stuff? Then stick around today. On Baby Boomer University, we're going to talk about ways to make downsizing moves easier and the potential outcomes. I'm your host, Rich Sparks, and you're at Baby Boomer University. Hi, this is Rich Sparks, and class is in session. So today we're going to be talking about downsizing and sharing some tips and such. Now, we have a couple of great guests today. We have Mike Coppins. Now, Mike has not only downsized personally, but he was the trustee and had to handle, I believe it was 2 homes for his parents and a business.
Correct.
So he's been through the downsizing process, so he's going to have some really cool insight. We also have Alex from Caliber Home Loans. How are you, Alex?
Doing great, Rich. How are you?
Good, good. Now, Alex isn't at the point of downsizing yet, but maybe he'll avoid it. He'll have to not get so much stuff so he can avoid it. Well, let's start off. I'm just going to read this little thing off here. And this kind of sums up, we specialize in helping folks with these downsizing moves with the Rich Sparks team and also Time to Downsize. Now, this is not one of our past clients. So, since it's mostly behind us, I can sum up the process of downsizing in 2 words. Downsizing sucks. It's a ton of work, and seriously, the single most difficult thing I've ever done, and that includes chemo. She goes on to say that eventually she is able to go through the downsizing process. But the key is really it doesn't have to be that hard. Now, Michael, when you downsized your home, how was it?
It was difficult. It was a job,
Okay.
beginning to end. A lot of little details to take care of.
All right. And did it have a pretty big impact on your life after you completed that?
Yeah, after I completed it.
Yeah.
But during was very time-consuming.
Okay. Yeah, actually, Michael has been quite the world traveler. We'll have to touch on that. And I think it freed you up to actually be able to do that, eh?
Finally, yes.
I'm not sure what that was. But and Alex, now your parents are still at that point. Have they went through that process yet?
They did recently.
Okay.
They had to get rid of some stuff and moved into a smaller home. Me being their son, I was part of that process quite a bit. They wanted us to keep old tables, bookshelves, random stuff that we just did not want.
That's funny because I give a tremendous amount of downsizing seminars. And one of the tips I give out to people is your kids do not want your stuff. But I do give them a good tip. Let me tell you the best way. If you got stuff you want to give to your kids knowing they don't want it, the best way to do it is get a big box, put all the stuff in it, wrap it in really nice paper, and when they come over and they go, hey, this is a gift for you.
There you go.
Open it when you get home. That works great. But now, why do you guys think, and I have my things over here, and we're going to be testing you a little bit. What do you think some of the benefits of downsizing is?
Get rid of a lot of the headaches of keeping a big house and maintaining it.
For sure, because it's a lot of work. It can be a second job.
It is, yeah.
Now, some of the top 6 reasons people downsize is social engagement's one of them. A lot of folks we work with, they're so consumed in their home. They have a large house. They're not getting out as much. They're in that retirement age. And socialization is paramount to a healthy lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And have you ever heard of the Harvard study? It's pretty cool. It was the longest study done on it happened to be done on socialization, but it's the longest study done in history. And it started back in like the 1940s. And what they did was tracked a group of people. And at first it was just men because it was the 40s, right? Come 60s and 70s, they brought women into it also. It happened to be the wives. And what they found was that people in their 50s, the amount of socialization, your peers, your groups, what you were involved in, could actually determine your lifespan. And they determined the lack of socialization comes out to about 2.5 packs of cigarettes a day as far as detrimental to your life. So a lot of folks are trapped in their houses. The other big reason, health and wellness. Other good ones are the house becomes a burden, like you were talking about. We have so many clients. You get to that point where they. Now you moved from. It was quite a ways, wasn't it?
From myself,
Yeah.
from Gladwin down here to Detroit, to Warren.
Okay.
Yep.
And now I know one of the things, because we worked together, that you guys were really interested in was being near the Warren Recreational
Community Center, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Do you guys use that a lot?
Yeah, quite a bit, especially the library and, of course, the pool facility.
Okay.
And they have a nice track that goes all the way around the building, so you can get a 1.25 mile walk in.
Oh, nice.
One time around. So that becomes more and more important as you get older, too.
For sure. So just being closer to things you're actually using. Now, did you move closer for kids?
For work, especially.
Okay.
For that reason. And it's nice to get into a new city, see new restaurants, new things to do, new places to go, and develop new friendships.
Very cool. Very cool. Now, another one is reduce costs to increase a nest egg. How many friends, people you know, their kids have left, they have multiple rooms that they haven't been in a year or so, but yet they're still paying to heat it, still paying to cool it, still paying to maintenance it.
You know, I can say my in-laws actually are in that situation. They have a 4,000 square foot home. They live by themselves.
Wow.
Besides their grandkids coming into the home and fill up the rooms, they're
Okay.
heating a lot of home there.
So did they ever look at each other and say, okay, that 2,000 square foot's yours, this 2,000 square foot's mine?
I think they just shut some of the vents off in some of the rooms.
Well, that's one thing. A house is a dynamic creature. Believe it or not, that's kind of bad for the house, you know. The other reason, top reasons, is travel readiness. And Mike, you've taken great advantage of this.
I do travel a lot more in the last 10 years.
What's your favorite place you've been to?
Cambodia, I think, is probably the favorite.
Okay.
But I've been to several countries in Southeast Asia.
Okay.
Thailand and Laos and Burma, which is now Myanmar. They're all interesting. Philippines is very nice, too. Singapore is a beautiful city, very, very clean. But freed up these days to be able to do those things. Retired and in a smaller house with not a lot of maintenance or responsibilities because it is small.
Okay. So you just feel like at any point in time you can just kind of pack up and take off.
As long as it's okay with my wife, yes.
Yeah. Well, one of the things I know you're very good at now is you really track those specials on pricing on going places.
Yeah.
And that takes a lot of flexibility. Not only, you're retired, but if you had a lot of property and you're cutting 5 acres of grass, you can't just hit the road in a heartbeat.
No. And as you said, big houses come with a lot of big responsibilities. So.
That's for sure. Now, another one is to increase happiness, because there comes a point in time, and you guys tell me what you think about this. This is my theory. In the States, in America, we're kind of, from youth, pushed that the American dream is you work hard so you can buy a lot of stuff, but really the happiness part doesn't come in so much. I know there's a country over near Mongolia that they don't have a national product. They actually have the national happiness level is how they actually say their country's doing. So it's not based on national production. But do you kind of feel that's been that way?
Yeah, it is keeping up with the Joneses. Everyone wants a bigger home, nicer car, nicer clothes. So you end up working more, which involves your not doing what you really truly want to do, such as traveling, what Mike does, and you're not as happy. I mean, everyone should love what they do for work, but spending time with the family, that's where the true happiness comes from.
Oh, for sure. And, they've pushed that, since it probably came out, I'm older than you. I know you can't tell, but yeah, it's probably by quite a bit. But like when I was going through high school and all this stuff, that old saying, if you find a job you love, you'll always be happy. That wasn't so much the saying. Back when I was going to school, it was like, you find a job that you can make money and support your family, you're doing good. That was the thing. Now it's changed a little bit, but the pursuit of happiness is something that there comes a point in time, I think, that we really have to look at our lifestyle and everything we have, and does it really bring that happiness? Like if I was to ask you, Mike, if you can not now, let's go back in your entire life, what point in time were you the happiest?
Well, at one point in time, I had my own business. That came with a lot of responsibility as well, but still, that was a very good time in my life. So I was kind of running my own life and not answering to another boss that was above me. So that was a good time in my life. And then retirement, of course, changed everything.
Right. So I noticed you didn't say it was the time I had the most pair of tennis shoes, the time I had the most cars. No?
Not at all.
No.
Not at all. No. Those were pushed, of course. Get a bigger, better car, better home. Always keep looking to improve your surroundings and keep up with the Joneses, like you said before.
Now, the last one, number one reason for, on the top, I think it was 7 I have, reasons for downsizing is to stop the boomerang effect. Have you ever heard of that?
Not.
What is the boomerang?
Haven't heard of that one.
So basically, it's when you raise your kids, they go off to school, they start a life, and then they move back in, and they don't want to go. One time I was at a house we were helping, and the first time I met with this lady, we did a needs analysis. And it was the cutest thing in the world because I looked at her, I said, well, I don't understand. You're by your church. I mean, literally, you can walk to church. You're right by a community center. You're in a ranch-style home, first floor laundry. Why are you wanting to downsize and move out of here? I just don't get it. And she leaned in real close and took her hand and pointed towards the other room and goes, to get rid of her. Her daughter had moved back in, and she was like, hey, this is great. You know?
Yep.
Hey, Mom, can we get HBO too?
Right.
You know, I don't want to rough it here. So those are some of the big reasons. Now, I'm just going to kind of mention some of the steps we go through with folks when we do it. We create a plan that works with them. One is communicating with family and friends, and I know I'm seeing this now with a 16-year-old and a 14-year-old. My 14-year-old has gotten this point where, and there's no malice intent, but she wants to tell Dad what's best for Dad. And we come across a lot of adult children that do that with their parents. So their parents are talking about downsizing, maybe especially if they're going to a community, senior community. A lot of them are, oh, don't do that. I think some are, concerned about their inheritance. But when you made your transition, did you have any of your adult children?
No, they didn't give us any problem with that. Another thing they probably didn't think about was instead of us hosting all the Christmas dinners, all the parties, now with a smaller house, we go to my daughter's large house, and she takes care of all that. So we just bring a couple dishes to pass.
That's kind of nice.
Unexpected benefit there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Indeed.
And that is something to consider, because there are people that will stay in that larger place because, well, I host Christmas every year. So to put that money out on an annual basis, you could really rent a nice place for one day.
Yeah.
So that's very interesting. All right. So now, when people start going through the downsizing process, what we found is it's very emotionally challenging. Okay? And just like this lady, let me finish up what she was saying. And I thought this was interesting. This is why I printed this. The process is obviously different for everyone, but for me, a collector of all things beautiful and meaningful, getting rid of things was at times downright painful. Imagine lining up all your friends and saying, okay, I love you all, but there's no longer room in my life to stay in contact with all of you. I'm going to choose 10 of you to remain in my life. The rest, it's been nice knowing you. What do you guys think about that type of mindset?
A lot of attachments to things that probably they've had for many years.
You
Comparing them with your friends and getting rid of it, it's quite a difficult thing.
It is. It is.
Well, part of that too, though, is we got to look at, because a lot of people have that perspective, right? And these things keep slipping off. And let me adjust these. A lot of us have that kind of perspective where we put such an emotional item on, things, right? But is this really a something that's a fond memory, or is it just stuff?
Mostly stuff.
I agree. I think
mostly
it's just stuff. Really.
Yeah?
Yep.
All right. Now, here's one of my theories, and if you come to one of my downsizing seminars, we delve into this quite a bit. But the problem that I think we have in our society is that we are brainwashed, trained from birth to have emotional ties to things. So that whole thing, if you buy me, you'll be cooler. If you buy me, you'll be better. People will like you better. And that's where a lot of our emotional ties. I mean, why on earth would they ever sell something called a butt buster? Right?
Right.
All right. So I want to see how brainwashed you guys are, okay? So you got to get your bells ready.
Okay.
All right. If you can complete this sentence, whoever rings their bell first, then you have to complete it, right? Are you ready?
Ready.
Ready.
Okay. Sometimes I feel like a nut.
Sometimes I don't.
You're supposed to ring before.
the bell
Michael.
first?
the bell
You didn't
first.
explain all the rules.
Okay.
He was beating me on that one regardless.
I'm telling you, you're in bad shape here. All right. Let's see. Ready?
Ready.
Plop, plop.
Fizz, fizz. Oh, what a relief it is.
There you go. There
It's
you go.
unfair, this contest.
All right. He's got some experience on it. Okay. Which manufacturers like a rock?
Ford,
Close. Chevy.
Chevy,
We'll give you a half point because you were in the same category. All right.
Trucks.
Trucks. For
What's
sure.
Ford? Built Ford tough.
Built Ford tough, right?
Got it.
Has absolutely nothing. And I always thought it was funny, like Chevy in the marketing department. What item can we really compare a truck to? Something that never moves.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, like a rock, right? Of course. All right, so far they got pretty good. Okay, ready? The Fourth Amendment to the Constitution. What?
Freedom of speech.
No. No.
I'm not going to guess.
All right. Let's try another one. I'm going to go real old school here. You're not going to get this. This is Mike. This is going way back. Ready? Blank tastes good like a cigarette should.
Winston.
There you go. Now, that hasn't been aired since like the
06 there. It was way back.
It was way back. All right. Let's try one more here. Let's see. Which company? Where's the beef?
Burger King.
Close. Wendy's.
Wendy's.
Yeah, I can't give you a half point though when it's beef. What are you gonna do? But right there just kind of shows you. And I would do more towards what you're into, but I just don't know it. I stopped listening to commercials a long time ago. Yeah, but let me ask you this: how many phones have you had in the last 2 years?
3. 3 different phones.
Yeah.
Sure.
Why?
Broken screens. Little kids grabbing
okay.
them.
All right. It wasn't to update. You're not someone that's going to stand in line.
Well, one of the times I gave it to my daughter, knowing she'll break it, so I could get to upgrade the phone.
That's that's a devilish plot. Awesome. So part of when we're working with folks is we really have to sit down and help them determine if it's really stuff or a precious memory. A lot of times it's just stuff. But people want to hold on to that stuff. They'll forego having a better life for their stuff, which to me is just kind of crazy. Now, don't let your wives listen to this podcast, but do you have one person who's the gatherer and storer and the other one who would rather just not have it.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I'll tell you what, this is not a sexist thing because it goes both ways. I've had the wives were like, we got to get rid of this stuff. And the husbands, no, and vice versa. So it's kind of interesting. We had one character, and I've shared this story before, but he was awesome. When I first met him, they assured me they had no issues whatsoever. And it was cute. It's one of the best stories. And as I'm giving this seminar, he starts smacking the other person, okay? And so the wife is smacking the husband, and finally I asked, I go, what's going on? And it was cookbooks. The husband had this crazy collection of cookbooks, like 1,000 cookbooks. And basically, I think last week was 500. Now, if I tell the story again next week, the cookbooks goes up to 1,500, just so you know, so you want to turn back in. But in essence, what it was is, to her, it was just stuff. It was keeping them from making this move. They were going into a senior community where their life would improve. It would have a significantly positive impact on their life. And to her, it was just stuff. But once we started talking, come to find out with him, it was precious memories in there.
Yep.
You know, the only time he ever cooked was for special occasions, like when his son graduated college. And I use this story because it's just the epitome that as you're going through that downsizing process, you really have to look and say, is this just stuff or is it a precious memory? Now, is there anything that you kept that you just could not live without?
Yeah, I've actually got the same problem you just mentioned. I dragged 12 years ago from our large house in Gladwin down here a pinball machine that's been sitting in the garage since I got there. And
So-
she's after me all the time. Get rid of it.
Okay. Now, what is it about the pinball machine?
I picked it up a long, long time ago. It was just something that was exciting to have right in the house, and the kids loved it. And then when it got up here, it never made it into the house. And I'm not sure that it even works anymore. But I just hate to let go of that.
Okay.
It's a memory from way back when. I know I have to. And we're continually downsizing now, trying to think of, well, we don't really need this. Let's get rid of it. Let's
Right.
get rid of a little more room and get rid of this and that so we've got more freedom. We don't have to keep moving this from one room to another room when we're not using it.
So in that case, I mean, talking about this pinball machine. Okay. So it sounds to me like it's more just remembering when your kids were little and interacting with them.
Yes. Yeah. It was a good memory from back
Okay.
then.
And now if that pinball machine goes away, there's not really that catalyst which is going to cause that memory to come up.
I still remember the kids.
Yeah.
But
That's
You're
good.
right.
That's good. So if you were to do something like, do you have any photos of all of you playing it when they were kids?
yeah, probably. There's probably a few pictures of those kids standing there when they were little up on a stool playing the pinball machine. Sure.
That's kind of cool. So maybe get them all together and snap some new photos around the pinball machine before it says goodbye to it. And then
Yes.
do a collage that you can actually hang.
Yep. Make my wife very happy to see that go.
Yeah. And do you know the thing with a lot of the memories, because we've had folks, I mean, photo albums are crazy. And here again, Alex has had a great disadvantage because do you know what picture it is?
I do not.
You do, though, don't you, Michael?
A picture of what?
Picture it. Remember,
No.
you would get a camera, okay? You'd look at National Geographic, all these beautiful photos. So you'd buy a nice camera, you'd get a roll of film, 36, and you'd put it in. It's not like digital. You'd go out and you'd line up your shots, and you'd take all these shots, and then you'd take them to get them developed. And the special deal was we're not only going to give you one copy of each, we're going to give you two. Picture it. So you'd get 72 sucky photos back
Yes.
of chopped off heads, bad exposure, absolutely terrible. Some you'd look at and go, I think that's Uncle Alfred's left ear in that one. And then you don't throw away photos, though.
Nope.
You
gotta
put them
keep
in shoe boxes, because what else are you going to do with the shoe boxes you didn't want to throw away? And they stay there for the next 40 or 50 years. Okay? And that's picture it.
and perfect for downsizing those as well.
Absolutely. I love digital frames. They're the best. We got my mom and dad, and it was kind of cool. We got them a digital frame, and they're in Tennessee. So we can now snap a photo of something going on, hit a button, it shows up on their frame down there.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so it's pretty cool
Great idea.
technology. Yeah, and here again, it's just when you have memories buried because of all that stuff, you just don't get to live it. So right now, we're going to take a quick second for our sponsor, Time to Downsize, a great company that will coach you through this process, and we'll be right back with some actual tips and get into helping you in that downsizing process.
Trying to take care of my old house is quite a challenge.
Time to downsize.
I know. That's what everybody says.
Oh no, Trudy. Time to Downsize is the free real estate relocation company Bob and I used when we sold the Colonial and moved into this condo. They helped us find a great real estate agent and helped us every step of the way. We have a brand new life.
I'm calling Time to Downsize today.
Call 248-480-7700. If this is your year for right-sizing your life by downsizing, email help@timetodownsize.com. That's time, the number 2, downsize.com. Hey, we're back from Baby Boomer University, and we're here again with Michael Coppins, who has been through the downsizing process, and we're here with Alex from Caliber Home Loans. He's going to give us a quick mortgage update. Alex, what's going on in the mortgage industry?
No, it's not too much going on after that shutdown of the government. So we're 3% down on mortgage applications since last week. That probably has something to do with interest rates ticking up slightly from 4.75% to 4.76%. So there's a lot of forecasting going on right now for 2019. One of the great things with interest rates, they actually redid their numbers for 2019. Originally, they had it being 5%, the average. They're going to actually redo it and say there should be forecasted about 4.8% for 2019. Also, a couple other things. Unemployment forecast for 2019. Great thing. Rate expected to go down to 3.4%, down from 3.7 in 2018. But overall, mortgage business is doing well. Rates are staying low. A lot of people expected rates to be up to close to 6%, 5.5%. They're staying low. A lot of people are buying, a lot more purchasing power, and the market is definitely moving, especially here in Michigan.
Excellent. And we're seeing a lot of more inventory coming on the market. So if last year you tried, I know it was multiple offer situation and the numbers went a little crazy, actual sales prices have come down a little bit because that fervor has went away. So it's a much better time if you tried the market, didn't work out. It's definitely time to get back in. So now, going from mortgages, let's go to houses. You guys ready?
Absolutely.
You got your bells ready? Okay. All right. Average size house in 1950. What do you think?
1,200 square feet.
1,500.
1,500. 983 square feet.
Gosh.
And that was with a family of 4. Now, in this day and age, average square footage is right around 2,800 square feet with 3.5 people. Okay?
Oh.
So we've almost tripled. Actually, we have basically tripled the size of our homes. And what did we fill up with all that?
More headaches, more responsibility, more
Absolutely.
money.
More boxes.
Yeah.
Right?
Shoe
So
boxes.
that's the craziest thing is if you look, historically speaking, we have become such stuffed people, and it all goes back to that marketing. Whether we're on the internet and you're getting rebranded, I mean, you go on the internet, if you type in purse because you're thinking about buying your wife a purse for the next 18 months, it's popping up purses all over. People, your friends are walking by, you're looking at your football scores, and there's ads of purses popping up. Your friends are talking about you. They're behind your head going, I see what Alex is into.
Yep.
Yeah, you got the heels to pull those off, buddy. You know?
You got good taste.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's everywhere. All right. So here's my next question for you. What 30, and this is 2016 stats, $32.7 billion industry did not exist about 15 years ago? $32.7 billion industry did not exist about 15 years ago. We need like mute. Yes.
When?
Social marketing?
Nope.
Good guess.
Good guess. Good guess. Self-storage units. Self-storage units. So now we've tripled the size, and that's why I'm saying if you don't think we have an issue with stuff in this country, you're crazy. But this is what makes it so difficult, because we have been kind of brainwashed to the point where we feel the need to triple the size of our homes and create a $32.7 billion industry. We had a client, and I felt the guy was awesome to work with. We helped him downsize, go through the downsize process, brought in all the vendors to help him. He was able to downsize his home and move so he could have an enhanced lifestyle, okay? It took a while. You know, there was some emotional things there. But he could not get rid of his self-storage unit at first. He's like, I'll tackle that another day. So I get a call about 12 months later, and he's like, yeah, Rich, I just went through to downsize my storage unit. He goes, you're never going to guess what I found. He started moving stuff, and what had happened was rats had gotten in and destroyed everything and made a nest. So the way he looked at it was he had spent right around $4,500 over however long of a period to house rats.
1,000 feet.
So here again, this is a big issue on the downsizing. So how do we go about it? I mean, there's multiple phases to go through it. The first one, getting rid of junk, is usually pretty easy. Mm-hmm. But that second stage, when you start getting in and they have to make decisions on items that they're not sure if it's an emotional thing or if it's just stuff, that's when it can get quite challenging. Mm-hmm. And we do quite a bit giving them little tips, you know. Love taking photos of things, making digital frames. We had one lady, and I thought it was pretty cute. She had kept every T-shirt from every, and you know, we're talking a long period of time. Every organization she had belonged to, every sports team from the time she was a child.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, yeah. She had boxes of these things. And what she ended up doing is cutting out the logos out of the center chest area or whatever the saying or whatever it was. Mm-hmm. And she had a quilt made.
Cool.
And she uses on her bed. So kind of a cool idea, right?
She kept the memory.
Kept the memory, was able to repurpose the memory, and got rid of boxes and boxes of material. I know we have other folks that the thought of throwing things away is just terrible, and it's okay to throw stuff away. All right, Alex started to say something. He's like, oh, my wife. I could see it. What is it, Alex?
I'm just thinking, we have so many plastic boxes already built up. Imagine when it's time for us to downsize in 20 years, how much more stuff we're going to have.
Yeah. But it's good that you're paying for something to store something you don't need. That's awesome.
Absolutely.
That's awesome. That's a good use of money. All right, you guys ready for another marketing mind bender twist here?
Yes.
Okay, let's see who can finish this sentence. Remember, just to clarify, Mike, ring the answer.
First.
That's right. Alex, I've got hope for you. Okay. Blank, a San Francisco treat. Wow.
Pass.
Macaroni.
No.
Something.
Oh, my goodness. What a terrible marketing thing. Rice-a-roni.
Rice-a-roni. I knew there was roni in there.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah, they're going to have to fire that guy. But they do come out with some really good, I mean, I have visuals here that I use in the seminar that obviously I'm not going to bring up here. But it's kind of funny. If you take the letters of some of the national brands like Coca-Cola, Subway, and put them together, people will go through and usually I have like 15 letters here outlining consumerism. And I've had groups they can just go through and go, oh, yeah, that's IBM, that's Subway, that's this is that. But, man, they just own a piece of our mind.
All that advertising.
All that advertising. So you really got to think, because like in your case, Alex, I mean, if you can avoid building up all that stuff, because you're right, you're going to come to that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I can see it coming right now. And if you're listening, sorry, Maria.
So kind of the old saying is, if every commercial you listen to, in the back of your mind say their goal for me is to work, buy, consume, and die.
Exactly.
That is their goal for you. So we can avoid a lot of the downsizing down the road if we just avoid the purchasing up front. I mean, I'm just as bad, but I'm my wife and I, we definitely have differences on that. Me, I'm more of a, let's just not buy it. I'll tell you the worst thing that I've come across here. Does anyone buy from Amazon?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Absolutely.
It's horrible. It's horrible. You get a whim, and you can jump online and order it, and it's in your house at 2 days on a whim.
They have that one-click buy.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
It's to avoid the
Logging in.
remorse, just thinking about it, click and buy it, ship it.
All right, what's the stupidest thing you bought off Amazon that once you got it, you said, really? Why did I do that?
I hate to say cookbooks, but
Really?
I think a particular cookbook.
And they still make those.
Yeah. Still got people that are willing to buy them. So.
That's crazy. That's crazy. I know. You
Not
can go
necessary.
like this to your phone and go,
Yeah.
jambalaya.
They're all there. I know.
1.4 billion recipes. Yeah. Well, here's what I did the other day, and I don't know why, but I kept getting these advertisements for the Amazon Prime grocery gig, and I just thought they kind of capture you. So you go on, and it had some weird jam, some brand you don't see at Kroger or Whole Foods or whatever. And I thought, hey, I'll try that. But then they go, hey, if you want free shipping, you only got to buy $28 more. So you're like, okay. So you spend your $30, whatever. So the box comes. I'm telling you, every single thing was individually wrapped. When I brought the 12 items I had purchased out on the table, and we have a big dining room table, we had this mountain of plastics and boxes. And they had one, I swear, it looked like an emergency helmet that they had wrapped these glass jars in. It was insane.
Yeah, they always put on the bottom, people who bought this have also bought this
Right.
product.
Oh, yeah.
They add it in there. Like, I'm already there. I'm $5 short from free shipping. Let me check this out.
Do you know it used to be bad? I've had clients where the Home Shopping Network, and I've walked into their house, and literally they would have walk paths and tons of unopened boxes. But here again, and I'm with the adult child often then, and they're like, I don't know why they're doing this. Well, I can tell you why they're doing this. They're lonely. They're stuck in this house all the time. Get them into a senior. There's awesome senior communities around here that have, not only are they going to get proper nutrition, but there's activities, there's socialization. Today they're probably golfing down the halls of the community. It's a lot of fun. It is amazing. And I'll share one more story. I had this one client named Lisa, and I started working with her and her father, or not her father, her husband. Very cool folks. He was a Vietnam helicopter pilot.
Wow.
So he had some really cool stories. And we started working with them, but they were just adamant about not getting rid of their stuff. And they were in a quad-style home, so you walk in, stairs going down, stairs going up, and then another flight going down to a basement. And they couldn't hardly get up and down the stairs. Well, we talked with them, and one of our downsizing coaches worked with them. Well, during the process, unfortunately, the husband passed away. And then as soon as that happened, you seen her start to deteriorate. And as we're meeting with her and such, but finally, we got her to move into the senior community. And she was at the point where she was calling me and saying, "Can you come by and just explain this again?" And I'd be like, "Oh, geez, it's going to be an hour." Okay. And I would swing by her house and all this. So when we finally got into a senior community, it was about a week after the closing, and we had to get one document signed to deliver to the county for her. And I'm thinking, it was one of those days. Have you ever been those days where you're so busy and you like the person, but they're not real quick to get into a point?
Oh, yes.
Yeah. And that was my day. So I thought I'd be slick. I called her up and I said, "Hey, can we meet down into the community room?" Because I'm thinking, okay, if I'm in the community room, it'll be a half an hour, right? If I go up to the apartment, it's an hour. And she's like, "Yeah, just call me when you get here and I'll come down." So I get there, they call up. She comes bebopping in, and her hair's all done up. I was used to seeing her in slightly stained sweatshirts and her hair not done. She comes in, she has this like bedazzled 1970s skater disco cap on, and she walks up to me. She goes, "Honey, I've only got 5 minutes. What do you need? I'm on my way to a euchre party."
There we go.
Right?
That's the difference.
That's the difference. So you see this huge change in life once they get past that stuff issue and they start saying, "Hey, I'm not going to let this hold me back from having a great life." You know? So now you were talking to your in-laws.
We're talking to my in-laws, and it's actually funny. Over the past couple months, my wife's been taking stuff from my, like there was a 4-foot tiger that we sold on Facebook. And I'm like, why did you have that tiger for the last 30 years sitting in the basement? I guess 30 years ago, that was the in thing. But slowly, they've been selling stuff off on Facebook.
Good.
And quite a few statues. And older couches, what else was there? A dishwasher that was just downstairs for 10 years because they didn't want to throw it away after they bought a new one.
Right.
Yep.
Hate to get rid of that. You got to have a spare dishwasher just in case.
Absolutely. And along with a dryer, a washer for clothes, things like that were just accumulating in the basement. Granted, there's a lot of the kids' stuff down there too. But slowly over the last couple of weeks or months, she's been selling them.
That's awesome.
And because it's better to put that money in your pocket than just take up space in the basement.
Oh, for sure. Any way you can get rid of it, I think, is a better way. You know, sell it, donate. Donations, they're actually right now having a hard time with donations, meaning they're getting too much.
Exactly.
And it's hard to get rid of some stuff that way. We had Erica Organizes on here last week, and she has some good connections. She can help you with that also. All right. So also, when you move to a smaller space, you have to be a little more organized. When you say, Mike?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Right.
That's another important reason to get rid of stuff. You mentioned selling a lot of that stuff. In our household, my wife works at the church in a thrift store that they have there. So every week, she's taking items from our house that we haven't used in the last year or so,
There you
taking them
go.
over to the thrift store. The only caveat to that is she often brings stuff back from the thrift store. So really, we haven't changed a whole lot yet,
Right.
but we're heading in that direction.
Now, does she see a lot of people donating clothes? Because I've heard if you donate clothes, they don't necessarily give them out. They throw away quite a bit. Is that true?
Yeah, they prefer to have nice, clean clothes or new clothes. And a lot of people that are trying to help out others that maybe can't afford to shop, they'll give new clothes often or clothes that were just slightly worn. They're washed and ironed before they're donated, and those do really well. There's a lot of people that need clothes and many other things too. So
The main thing, though, is because I'm with some charities also, is they got to be clean.
Gotcha.
And I'll tell you what, my son, who's 16, my daughter, 14, and we never promoted this, but their favorite store to shop at is the Salvation Army. And there's nothing that warms a father's heart more when your son comes up and says, "Dad, I need money for new school clothes," because he's getting big. He wants to go buy his own. I said, "Great. How much do you need?" He goes, "For everything, $20. Okay, here you go. You know? And he comes home, a lot of the clothes he comes home with are brand new with tags on.
Wow.
And a lot of them are name brands that I don't know any of them, but he'll tell me. And then my wife gets all excited about it also. So I guess it's a name brand, you know. If it's not Levi's, I really don't know the brand.
This one today from the thrift store that I'm wearing.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Okay.
It's a gift from my wife.
There,
Not a surprise, but a gift.
there you go.
Like,
There you go.
I guess if there's one thing my wife can say that I hold on to, are jeans that I fit into about 4 or 5 years ago. She was like, just donate them. I'm like,
You
no,
don't
I'm
get
going to fit in
back.
those. I'm going to fit in those
One
again.
day, yeah.
they're brand new. I'm not going to turn them in yet.
Yeah. That's one of the reasons our closets, I think, have gotten so much bigger. I know I have that one of these days.
Yeah.
It's the mantra. All right.
She's hoping we'll downsize.
There you go. There you go. Physically, not necessarily
Right,
stuff-wise.
exactly.
Yeah, it's all about downsize. All right, so here's a great tip I give out to folks. And you know those silly little binder clips?
Yeah.
Those that you can buy them. You know, there's a great organizing store over in Troy. But I'm telling you, there's so many things you can buy that are cheap that do a great job. Those are little organizer clips. So I came up with this thing. Does anyone have a basket of socks?
That mismatched? Or
Mismatched
Multiple boxes.
Right.
Single sock?
Yeah, you have the
Basket.
single
Yep.
sock. And my wife, I told her, I said, look, why don't you take these single socks and just throw them away? And she goes, oh, I can't do that.
The other one
They're
might turn
just
up.
they're just separated. And I
That's
told her, I
right.
said, no, they're not separated. They're divorced. The other one moved to Florida. Just toss it, throw it away, get rid of it. So what I thought of, okay, this is crazy. I actually went online and I looked for something that would keep those socks together through the process. And I found this silly thing, and they wanted like $25 for the sock binding system.
Oh, gee.
And I thought, well, that's stupid. And I bought a thing of clips from, Office Max or Depot or whatever, and I started clipping all my socks together, and they go in the wash that way. They come out. And I thought, we'll see, if they're going to rust them or whatever. I'll ruin mine, not everyone else's. And it worked like a charm.
That's a great idea.
Oh, yeah. So I went out, and this is the coolest part. I went out, and I got different colors for each member of the family. Here, yours is purple, yours is black. Here, Nico, yours is chrome, da-da-da. And the best thing for them is they never use them. They just go to my drawer, take my socks, because theirs aren't matched together. So, but there's all kinds of little things. Those little binder clips are awesome for so many things. Another one, if you think of your freezer, and you got the little grids in it, right? And you use half a bag of vegetables. Roll it up, and then basically lift it up to the grid above, put the clip through it, and clip that bag from the top, and now you're making more space in that chamber, and it keeps it nice and organized. But there's tons of little organizational things you can do. Now, what's your favorite organizational thing, Alex?
Organize.
If you can't say your wife. So.
I'd probably say my car.
Yeah?
I like keep my car organized. Keep
Do
it nice
ya?
and clean.
That's hard to do with kids.
It is. That's why it's never clean. But always working on it.
Yeah.
Outside of that, I'd probably say, I think I caught something from one of your seminars, or I believe it was maybe last week's show. It was about the organization for the junk drawers.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
And those things, if you can keep them organized, it's like the heart of the house. All the stuff goes in there that you don't know where it's going. So I'd probably say that.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Every house does have junk drawers.
Yeah. Too many. Too many.
That's one of my wife's favorite things is to clean those out and organize those. So she takes that on as projects all the time, which helps a lot. But they fill right back up,
It's amazing, isn't it?
They do.
If junk drawers was an Olympic sport, my wife would be a gold medalist. I'm telling you. It's amazing. And the piling system is not organized, okay? Just because you put it in a pile does not make it organized. You got to sort through it. And I know mail, postage, I still get a ton of junk mail.
Oh, my gosh.
Yep, that's where it goes, right into the junk drawer.
Well, and what I've gotten in the habit of doing is opening my mail by the trash can. Because they get you, right? They go, immediate notice required or blah, blah, blah. You think the IRS is reaching out to you and, you don't want to necessarily toss those things away. All right. Most annoying thing in houses, junk-wise.
Junk-wise.
Yeah. What's that one thing that every house has, in your opinion, that they could get rid of a lot of them and never miss a beat? No?
I was thinking hangers at first, but
Hangers is a great one,
yeah.
especially if you use the dry cleaners. I use the dry cleaners a lot.
The problem is when you get those plastic hangers that come back from the dry cleaners or whatever, you don't throw them away. You keep them in the closet for a while. Then you use it for something else, and it breaks.
Yeah.
Those plastic ones.
Sounds like a real hang up.
And then you got the rest of the afternoon gluing that back together again.
You know, I would have to say pens, paper. You know,
Okay.
you're always
Ah,
keeping
yeah.
pens over the house. They don't necessarily stay together. They find a way in every room,
Right?
and eventually they break.
Okay.
Same way.
I think bowls, jars, that kind of stuff. I know we have a fine collection of, my friend Michelle will kill me because she sells this stuff. I can't remember. Tupperware.
Tupperware?
So our key to our Tupperware system is we buy them all, and then within 42 seconds lose the lids or warp them in some fashion. But you can't throw away because that's Tupperware, Rich.
Right.
We can't use it for anything, but it's Tupperware.
And you end up with so many small ones packed into a little cabinet
Oh yeah.
that when you go to get one, it's an avalanche. When you
Oh,
open it
yes.
up, you can't stack them and store them enough
Neat.
to keep them neat.
Oh, for sure. No, I think we've all experienced the horror of the Tupperware
The
avalanche.
horror. Yep.
So, quite frankly, I mean, a good downsizing tip is getting rid of 90% of that. When I was in college, and being the classy guy I was, most of my bowls were like, can't believe it's butter and yada yada and yada yada. And, we had pizza sauce or spaghetti sauce, and now I'll wash that mason jar out and use that for. There comes a point when you don't have to do that anymore. It is okay to get rid of them and recycle them or use them for something, but yeah, Tupperware is the vein of my existence here. All right, any other good tips for downsizing?
Attend your seminars, probably a great tip, huh?
Hey, definitely reach out to us. We'll let you know that we have them all over Metro Detroit.
Oh.
We give a lot of insight and tips. And the biggest thing really is it comes down to getting more on a serious note, making a plan. And I cannot say how important it is to have a coach from time to downsize, guide you through it. Because quite frankly, it's like anything. You're going to have, it's hard. Just like this letter said. Now, the coach from time to downsize, you need an estate salesperson. They arrange it. They take you through the whole process, get all those ancillary services in there. Now, you have to pay for those ancillary services. And the nice thing about them is they have no cost to manage and oversee that whole thing. So instead of like the general contractor on building a house, they're kind of your general contractor on your downsizing move, which is really cool. They get compensated by getting a portion of the real estate fee.
Ah,
Yeah. So that's kind of cool. I mean, it's nice having that. Other things, sets. It is okay to break up a set. Who has a China set?
Pass.
See? I guarantee you everyone over the age of 50 has a China set.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
And they never use them.
Someday,
Yeah.
got to keep it.
Gotta
Just
keep-
in case.
Just in case. See, we got ours. I talked Pam into getting it into play about 5 years ago when the kids were small, so we don't have a China set anymore. It worked great. As you walk by, you kind of bump it. It's terrible. But we've had people that they will take one of those sets, break it down, put a shadow box together with one setting and maybe some photos around it of events, special dinners, holidays, and such.
Keeping the memories.
Yeah, and get rid of the rest. I mean, the whole key is really going through and saying, how can we determine first if it's stuff, second if it's a precious memory, and how can we reformat those precious memories to make them more mobile and fit to where you're going? Yeah. Great way of getting kids to take stuff is have a reverse Christmas.
A reverse Christmas.
Absolutely. Have a Christmas in July. Wrap up that stuff, send it over to them. have a party at your house and reverse birthday, etc. I'm going to check real quick here and see if we had any questions that came in so we can address them. Okay. What do you do with those special baby clothes? Probably the wrong people to be asking here. When your kids are grown and gone.
There's all kinds of mothers out there that need those clothes, too.
That's very true.
There's a donation item right there you can feel real good about.
Yeah.
Good to know.
We had one client. She was a doll collector. Had been collecting dolls her whole life. She had a bedroom full with dolls, various. Where you walked in, there was 10,000 eyes looking at you. And she had a real strong emotional connect to all those. What we ended up doing is working with a shelter, and she ended up taking them down in lots and would have photos of her. A child would pick out one of the dolls and then take a photo with her and the doll, and then they put that in a digital frame. So they were repurposing those memories, making new memories out of them.
Wonderful.
So, I mean, that's something, too, you could do if you do have items from your kid's childhood that's really nice shape and you hate to see it go. Passing it on to someone is a great idea.
Having two small kids myself, I find that most of the clothes that you get in gifts or you buy, they never end up wearing it. They outgrow it, you forget it. So a lot of these clothes that I personally have of my daughter when she was younger, they haven't even been worn or used, but we're keeping them in a box. They're still there.
Are we hoping that she shrinks? That's what? I don't understand. All right. Well, we're right at 2 o'clock, I believe, here. So we've got a few more minutes, and then we'll be wrapping it up. Some other good things, changing old memories into new memories is with your grandkids. If there's ever, have you guys ever, well, here again, you probably haven't, you're young, Alex, but have you ever said these words, Mike, one of these days I'm going to give that to X?
Yeah. A record player.
Okay.
For my granddaughter. But that was very important for us in our day, growing up and coming into the teen years or even the tween years, to have a record player you could have in your bedroom, playing all those 45s and albums and things like that. And then they disappeared over the years. Now they're coming back.
Okay. So did you give it to her?
Not yet. She needs another year to grow yet.
Okay.
But since the records and things are coming back, yeah. And it'll give me a chance to introduce some of the music that I still had and I still collect or have that collection of albums, huge collection. So I can show her some of the things from the 60s and 70s that were popular songs that were funny or interesting. Or
Well, those are they've all come back. My son has come up to me multiple times. Dad, check out this song. What do you think of this band? I'm like, dude, that's Van Halen. I grew up with that.
Right.
I play that one on guitar. And he's like, really? I think he thinks every song I listened to as a youth started off with bum-ba-dee-da, bum-ba-dee-da. No, that's not how it went. Well, guys, I want to appreciate you coming on today. Mike, you've just got a wealth of experience, and I think the biggest thing that you bring here is showing that, hey, there is life after downsizing.
Absolutely.
And Alex, thank you for coming on. We appreciate the mortgage update. If you guys are looking to make a move and purchasing with a mortgage, I would highly recommend Alex from Caliber. Alex, why don't you say how we can get a hold of you?
My phone number is 586-909-1235. That is my work mobile. Or you can send me an email to aleks.s@caliberhomeloans.com.
Okay, and if you didn't get that, just reach out to Rich at richsparks.com. We'll definitely get you over to Alex. And here's our little outro. Tell you about the show we have coming up next week. You don't want to miss. This will give you some awesome insight. And thank you so much for turning into Baby Boomer University Classes Over. Well, that's it for our show this week. Hopefully we made downsizing a little less sucky. If you need any help with that, reach out to us, rich@richsparks.com, or time2downsize.com. Next week, we have a very special guest. You're not going to want to miss this. It's Stephanie Aldridge from Home Instead Care. She's going to give us awesome insight into the in-home care market. So if you or a loved one might be needing that service in the next day, year, month, definitely tune in. She's going to give us some tips to really look at and get good folks in there to take care of our loved ones. Well, that's it. Class is dismissed, and have a great day.